19 minutes long. Well, by far one of the shortest books I ever read, but it has a lot of practical, useful information that you really can't find in other big books that are like 48 hours long if you read it on Audible. No, this book was only 19 minutes, and it's The Way of Wealth by Benjamin Franklin, and it's a very good book. Why? Because it gives you very practical information that, although it's pretty old information, it still works today, and that is very surprising because it stands the test of time. And that's why in this video I'm going to give you guys the 5 gems I actually found in this book and how to use it to better your life, because again, I believe that this book is one of like those foundation books that if you read it, it can get you started to an entire different type of lifestyle, because it has very good, practical, useful, simple information you can follow today. And if you guys don't know me, my name is TommyBryson. I'm an accountant. I post videos every single day on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notified when I post a new video. On top of that, hit the like button. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow a ton. So if you like the video and you liked it already before the video even started, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And on top of that, here's a question for you. What's your favorite book and why? Comment down below, let me know. I want to know, but I also need ideas, so this is how I get ideas out of you, by asking you questions. So comment down below your video, your favorite one, like your favorite book, and be sure that I will be stealing your favorite book and I will be doing a review on it, okay? So don't be surprised if you see like next week I do a review on your favorite book and you're like, okay, what just happened here? Well, I just stole your book, okay? No problem. With a problem? Let's go, okay? So guys, and before I actually get started, I actually want to say one thing here, and it's this, I read a book every single week for one reason, okay? It's because every time I read a book, one, I can avoid going to mentorships, to going to seminars, and paying thousands of dollars every single week or every single month on these mentorships. I can just read a book about it, and I can get all the information right then and there, and just start practicing it right now. And on top of that, I don't have to hire a mentor, because I can get all the information from a book, and then that guy literally just gave me all the information from his life in one book, and now I'm literally living a double life in a sense, okay? Let me know if that makes sense. It doesn't really, but it makes sense to me. It's basically this, okay? Whenever you read a book, you can read an entire person's entire life, their mistakes, their best things about the entire thing, but you get all the information without having to really go through it, which is very good. Now, guys, here are the 5 things I actually learned from this book, because again, it was one of my favorite books so far this month. And here we go. Number 1 is actually be the master of your idle time. Now, I want to remind you guys this, okay? This is a very old book, so some of the language here is kind of old, so I will be paraphrasing just to make sure you understand it in today's English, okay? So the first thing is this: idle time. He means that you're basically wasting your time, okay? Like time where you actually have nothing to do, okay? Like, what do you do with that time? Well, the answer is this: he recommended you take the idle time and you use it for a purpose, for things that actually benefit you in some way. Now, some people, many people out there, they take the idle time and they fill it up with like movies, shows, music, just doing whatever they want to do because, quote unquote, they're free, they're not busy, so they spend that time getting busy doing things that are useless for themselves. And I actually found myself doing the exact same thing, where I would have idle time and I would just use it to do nonsense that wouldn't really benefit me whatsoever. And today, by the way, there was a chapter in my life where I would wake up like around 2 to 3 p.m., then go to sleep around like 6 a.m. and be like, oh yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm hustling. Like there's a quote on Instagram. It's always like, the entrepreneur like goes to sleep at 5 a.m., wakes up like 6 a.m. and it's like a light in the building and it's like he's the only one there. And I'm like, okay, that's me. And in reality, no, it's not me. It's just called really bad time management and also really bad habits. And now it's very different, because now I go by one quote, and here it is, never leave for tomorrow what you can do today. So every single day I go to sleep by 10 p.m. I wake up around like 5:55 a.m. and that way I'm waking up early, going to sleep early, and I get everything done during the day. So number 1 is handling your idle time and not using it for things that you shouldn't be using it, and always using it to get busy doing things that give you a purpose and also move you forward, not backwards, okay? Now, number 2 is very simple and very short and sweet, and it's actually just looking after your business. Now, Tommy, this is very obvious. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Well, the thing is this, when I first started like my dropshipping business and a few other businesses out there, I was like, I'll hire someone to do all the work for me, and then that way I don't have to do anything. And it sounds like a great business, like a great business plan, right? Like, you do no work, someone does it for you, and you make profit. It's called passive income, right? But in reality, you come to find out that you always want to have some type of involvement in your business because you're the boss, you care more than the employees, and employees get very complacent very quickly. And you'll notice that when you start hiring people and they start doing the bare minimum. How you avoid is by, always motivating your employees, paying them well, and making sure they're always going beyond what they should be doing. By the way, beyond doesn't mean like, okay, just do extra work, I'm not gonna pay you. But I mean, just don't be complacent, okay? And that's why it's so important you're handling your business there, and you're not just like, okay, I just want to be in Hawaii and just getting money all the time. It doesn't usually work out like that. Most businesses require you like maybe like 4 hours a month, like 4 hours a day. It all depends on the business, but you always want to make sure you're involved to protect and guide and help your business grow, okay? Just clarifying that. Now, number 3 is actually debt. And there's a lot of good quotes in this book, guys. And the first quote is actually, well, many little things add up to one big thing. And you might be telling me, Tommy, it's pretty obvious. But notice, like, in your life, and I know in my life for sure, I had, like, Netflix, Spotify, iTunes. I bought a bagel every single day. I took the train here. I did this, I did that. And before I knew it, all these little expenses turn into one massive expense at the end of the month, okay? And you want to avoid that by all costs. So, again, you might have little expenses here and there, but you want to make sure you're monitoring them so you can actually cut them off, because a lot of little things turn into one big thing that can be a very big mess. Now, number 2, guys, in this entire like debt thing is actually, if you buy what you don't need, you end up selling what you do need, okay? And I see a lot of people out there, it's very funny, but kind of sad, People spend money on nice cars, nice jewelry, nice clothes, and before you know it, they're selling all that stuff to be able to pay for rent, pay for food, and you're like, wow, then why did you buy it in the first place? And the answer is usually like, I just wanted it because it's fancy. Well, you should have never done it. So just make sure whatever you buy, you can afford to buy it, and you're not buying things you don't need to then sell it to then pay for the things you actually do need, okay? Just avoid it altogether. Another great quote here, guys, is actually, when you buy one fancy thing, think about this one, you end up having to buy more fancy stuff. You might be telling me, Tommy, that's not true. I just buy one thing, that's it. Well, no. I remember buying a pair of sneakers, and then I needed like some jeans to go with it, then a belt to go with it, then a nice t-shirt and a nice hoodie, and then like socks. Like, for example, I would buy, here's a better example. I bought an iPhone, right? I bought an iPhone, then I needed a MacBook, then an iPad, then an iWatch. All this stuff that you really don't need. So sometimes, in the book he says, Benjamin Franklin says, it's better to say no the first time, and that way you avoid the entire like trendiness of having to need everything that comes after. So if you have a fancy purse or a fancy watch or a fancy car, then you need like the best car washes, the best like leather inside, the interior, the best gas, and then it leads to like this and that, the best parking spots, and it just gets very complicated. So sometimes it's just best not even participating, so you can avoid all the costs of having to get one trendy thing to then ending up to having to, like buy other things to maintain the entire persona and entire like look, okay? It's not important, don't do it. Now, number 4 is actually credit. Now, remember this, guys, right? Back in the days, credit really wasn't like the way it is today, where, hey, you don't pay, you get to go bankrupt and all this fancy stuff. Well, back in the days, you could go to jail for life, and also, this is insane, and also they could sell you if you owed money and you didn't pay it back. So back then, debt was a very, very serious thing, and now it still is, okay? I just want to clarify that. Nothing's changed. It still is it's still serious, but not serious enough where you're like, losing your entire freedom and having to like, be, shackled for life, or like going to jail for life over owing somebody $10 for a jacket that you bought, okay? It doesn't make really sense, but it used to be like that back then, so let's just understand it. And here it is, guys, okay? He said that, when people buy things that they don't need and they can't afford, they end up, not being able to pay. They ruin their reputation. And it's a very great quote here. It says, it's very hard for an empty bag to stand upright. And what that means is it's very hard for someone that doesn't have anything to be like, like a strong figure in the sense that he's very honest, very trustworthy. And people that owe a lot of money usually make excuses like, what, I can't pay you this week, I can't pay the credit card, I'm messing up my job, I have so much trouble. Well, why did you get into debt in the first place, okay? And one of the main things I got from this entire book, guys, is that, whenever you get into debt, you're literally being willing to give up your freedom. You might be telling Tommy, it's not like the old ages, I'm not going to give up my freedom, I just not, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the thing. Whenever you choose to owe someone money well, now they have power over you in the sense that, well, if you don't pay me, I'll ruin your credit score, okay? If you don't pay me, you'll have to, like, you know, I'll take the checks from your paycheck, okay? If you don't pay me, I'll put a stop to all your paychecks. It's crazy. So it might not be life in prison, but it might be the equivalent of you not being able to handle all your bills and just going to work for one thing, to pay bills, pay taxes, and survive. And you definitely don't want that. So whatever you get into debt over, I always think about debt in one way. Debt is for making money. If it's not making you money, don't get in debt. This is a very simple rule. That's my rule. Like, I don't buy things I can't afford. I only buy, like, on my credit card, like, my expenses, and I don't buy anything else, you know? If I can't afford it, I don't buy it. And if I can't afford it and I still want it, well, I save up for it. It might take me 6 months, it might take me 1 year, but I'll get it, but I won't go into crazy debt over a liability. It makes no sense. Now, the last one is actually wealth. It's the last key here, and it's number 5. It's actually wealth, and he says, you know, save while you may. And it basically means that, you know, people out there, they get this fancy job at McDonald's, getting $50 an hour, or like at an office or whatever. Wherever you work, doesn't matter. You get a fancy job, you're getting some money now, and now you're like, okay, I'm making money, I'm gonna buy me this belt, I'm gonna buy me this bag, I'm gonna buy me this video game, I'm gonna buy me this, that, blah, 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 new phone, new iPhone, 3 cameras, 4 cameras. Well, that's great, but remember that the good times don't always, like, you know, they don't always last. But the one thing that actually lasts is expenses, you know. You might not get paid this month, but you still have to pay the rent, the light bill, and everything else, okay? Expenses don't stop. So you want to make sure while you still can, you always save your money. But more importantly, you always try to multiply your money. And that's something that Benjamin Franklin actually said in this book. Making money is great, but multiplying your money is even better. By the way, 19 minutes, and this book has so much value. Very rare, but very true. On top of that, he also says it's better to go hungry than to get into debt. Now remember that back in the days, guys, you either go hungry or you go to jail if you can't pay back. So in some cases, some people, by the way, it's kind of like an extreme, but in some cases I would be like, okay, you know, I'd rather go, you know, not have to, like, you know, eat this fancy food at this fancy restaurant and just save my money instead of going into debt. That's how I would put it in today's generation, okay? And guys, that's basically it, you know? That's what I got from this book, the 5 keys. And I also want to ask you guys a question. What's the one thing you've bought that's led you to buying a lot more things? And you probably can find one, you know? It can be you know, buying clothes, buying tech, moving into a neighborhood, buying a car. Like, what is it that you bought one of that led you to buying a whole bunch of different things? For example, I bought this camera that led to this fancy tripod, that led to this fancy mic, that led to this fancy, like, other mic on top here, these fancy lights here, like this fancy phone here to control it. So it happens to the best of us, but it's for, like, quality, you know, it's for business. So it's kind of different. But let me know in the comments down below, what have you done and what has it cost you, okay? Now on top of that, guys, you made it all the way to the video. I actually want to give you something. And I didn't announce it in the beginning because I knew that if I announced it, then someone would skip to the end of the video and then get it. But here's the thing. I actually hid a $2 Amazon gift card in the description down below. You can find it. Just look for it. It's down there. But the main reason it's only $2 is because this book only costs $2. So if you can't afford the book and you're going through a hard time, which is, like, very, like, strange, like, $2 is $2, bro. But if you can't afford it, I have a link down below, or a gift card from Amazon. You can actually use it. It's $2, so get it while you still can. It's down there before somebody uses it. And on top of that, I also have an Audible link down there also, that if you register, you actually get 2 free books. So by the way, if you make an email address and you register for Audible, you get 2 free books, and you can use one of those free books to get this book or another book, or just get those 2 free books and get this book for $2. Because again, you can get $35 books with this free stuff, like $7 worth of books, and still get this $2 book, okay? For free, basically. So guys, as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notified when I post a new video. On top of that, hit me up on Instagram if you have any questions and any ideas. Really appreciate that. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. But before I go, click this video right here, or this playlist right here, to get the entire playlist of all the books I've read so far this year. And on top of that, hit my face right here to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And thanks for watching, and peace.